There's something almost magical about holding a photograph of someone who's no longer with us. Whether it's a worn black and white snapshot tucked into an old album, a framed image on the mantelpiece, or even a digital photo saved on a smartphone, these pictures act as a bridge to the past, a tangible reminder of moments and people we cherish. But what if I told you that photos of the deceased carry more than just memories? That beneath the surface of those frozen smiles and familiar faces, there's a deeper, subtler connection that can influence not just our emotions but the very energy surrounding us. This idea might sound a bit mystical, but it has been a point of concern across various spiritual traditions for centuries. The question is not whether to keep these photos, it's about how we handle them. What is the real impact of these images on the souls of those who have passed, and on us, the living? That's where the insights of Edgar Cayce come in, shedding light on a topic that many of us never paused to consider. Cayce, often called the sleeping prophet, dedicated decades to exploring life after death and the unseen forces that connect us beyond the physical realm. According to his readings, photographs do not simply capture a moment, they can retain a kind of energetic imprint of the person depicted. This subtle field remains linked to the spirit even after physical death, making photos a complex spiritual tool. This doesn't mean keeping photos is inherently dangerous or disrespectful. Far from it. What matters profoundly is the intention and respect behind how we use these images. When we look at a photo with genuine love, reverence, and peaceful remembrance, it can be a source of comfort and connection. But when photos are treated carelessly, exposed to ridicule, used for trivial entertainment, or broadcast without thought, the consequences can ripple in unexpected ways, disturbing the balance between the living and the withdrawn. In today's digital age, where sharing photos on social media has become routine, this discussion is more urgent than ever. Cayce warns that shallow or casual sharing of images can open channels of spiritual disturbance, especially if accompanied by disrespectful or superficial comments. A photo shared with true heart can honor a memory. One tossed casually into the vast internet abyss may do to the opposite. The core message: photos are not just pictures. They are delicate spiritual vessels, carrying memory, energy, and fragments of presence. How we treat them shapes not only our emotional healing but can also influence the soul's peaceful journey beyond this world. To grasp why photos hold such power, consider the emotional resonance objects often have with us: jewelry worn by a loved one, a handwritten letter, or a cherished piece of clothing. These items become charged with a personal vibration tied to the individual's essence. Photographs function similar. They carry a unique energy imprint, an echo of life that lingers long after the person's physical form is gone. This connection explains why looking at certain photos can evoke intense feelings, sometimes nostalgia, sometimes discomfort, even guilt or sadness that seems to come from nowhere. These reactions aren't mere superstition, they're reflections of the subtle influential fields linking us with departed ones. Cayce emphasizes the importance of intention when interacting with these images. For instance, when a grieving person repeatedly gazes at photos with an inability to let go, this can create a kind of emotional anchor that holds both the living and the withdrawn back. The soul of the deceased may linger, translated by compassion, but this can unintentionally hinder its transition and peace. This leads to a powerful insight: true love for those who have passed isn't about clinging to their image or presence. It's about practicing what might be called loving detachment, transforming longing into peaceful prayer, gratitude, and acceptance. The photograph remains a symbol of remembrance, not a chain binding us to the past. Handling photos with care extends beyond intention to the physical environment where they are kept. Cayce advised placing these images in peaceful, orderly spaces that reflect respect and calm. Leaving them amidst clutter, broken items, or places of frequent conflict disturbs their energy and can negatively impact the home's atmosphere. In practical terms, creating a small, serene corner or altar dedicated to the memory of the withdrawn can nurture a healthy connection. This space serves as a sanctuary of dignity and love, not a shrine of sorrow or emotional dependence. Grief is deeply personal and unfolds in its own time, but there are moments when clinging too tightly to photos signals a struggle to move forward. Many people find comfort in surrounding themselves with multiple images of a loved one, talking to those photos, or treating them almost as if the person were physically present. While this can feel soothing initially, it may also reveal an emotional impasse. Cayce explained that such attachment, if unchecked, risks trapping both the living and the departed in a shared space of unresolved grief. The departed soul, sensing this fixation, may linger out of compassion, making its own spiritual journey more difficult. The healthiest path, he suggested, involves shifting attachment toward love expressed through prayer, peaceful remembrance, and gratitude. This transition allows both sides to find healing, encouraging the soul to progress and the living to embrace life anew. It's crucial to recognize when a photo stops being a source of comfort and instead becomes an emotional crutch. If viewing a picture daily causes pain or prevents the heart from opening to the present, it might be time to carefully put it away. This isn't forgetting or disrespect, it's an act of emotional maturity, a gentle farewell that honors both memory and ongoing life. Sharing photos of deceased loved ones online has become a widespread practice, often done with sincere tribute and love. However, Cayce's teachings urge caution here. The issue is not the act of honoring memory, but how photos are exposed and the context in which they circulate. When images become decontextualized or invite disrespectful comments, mockery, or trivialization, the energetic disturbance can be significant. Public sharing can amplify emotions, both positive and negative, creating a virtual environment that may disrupt the soul's rest. Furthermore, the frequent reposting or use of photos in chain letters or attention-seeking posts can inadvertently commodify a sacred memory. Cayce warned against turning these precious images into consumer objects or social currency. Respecting the deceased means treating their image as a sacred token, not a public spectacle. The best approach combines intention, care, and discretion. Children are uniquely sensitive to spiritual and emotional energies, especially in their early years. Exposure to photos of deceased relatives without explanation or balance can cause confusion, fear, or emotional imbalance. Cayce encouraged caregivers to share family history naturally and lovingly, but to moderate how often and in what way images of those who've passed are presented. Teaching children that death is part of life and that departed loved ones live on in peaceful ways helps create a positive memory framework. This balanced approach nurtures children's emotional well-being, helping them grow with a healthy understanding of life, death, and remembrance. Some people attempt to connect with deceased loved ones through rituals involving photos or use technology to animate or simulate their presence digitally. While often well-intentioned, Cayce cautioned that such practices can be spiritually risky without proper knowledge or preparation. Invoking a soul via an image or artificially recreating their presence can confuse emotional boundaries and disturb the natural detachment process necessary for both the living and the dead. It may attract disharmonious energies or prolong suffering. Instead, silent prayer, gratitude, and sincere wishes for peace are the safest and most effective ways to maintain spiritual connection. Cayce's teachings boil down to cultivating respect, awareness, and balance. Choose photos that capture joyful, life-affirming moments rather than those from times of suffering. Position these images thoughtfully in your home, places where they bring comfort without overwhelming the environment. Altars or memorial corners can be helpful but should never foster emotional dependence. They exist to send light and gratitude, not to cling desperately to loss. Recognize the emotional impact of photos. If an image causes more pain than peace, consider putting it away temporarily with a ritual farewell. This process honors the memory without imprisoning it. Most importantly, transform remembrance into daily acts inspired by the departed, preparing their favorite meals, listening to beloved music, or doing acts of kindness. This active love allows memory to live and grow rather than stagnate. Death is a transition, not an end. The way we relate to photos of the departed reflects our own healing journey. When handled with respect, intention, and balance, these images become bridges of light, connecting past and present, life and afterlife. True connection doesn't demand forcing presence or clinging to images, it flows naturally through gratitude, prayer, and conscious love. The souls of our loved ones find freedom in our letting go, and we find peace in embracing life fully. As Edgar Cayce reminds us, honoring memory means living well, holding on with tenderness, and knowing when to gently release. Photos are sacred tools in this process, powerful yet fragile, deserving of care that nourishes both heart and soul.